You got hurt in a crash, and now the insurance company is tossing you a lowball offer that doesn't even cover your medical bills. You're angry and you're confused, and every call with that insurance adjuster feels like it's a trap. And if you don't know how to push back properly, you could end up ruining your ability to make a recovery to cover everything you need to. We're attorneys Chad Romey and Chris Blackburn here in Indiana, and we've helped hundreds of people get back hundreds of thousands of dollars more than what they were originally offered by the insurance company. In this video, we're going to show you 5 tricks, if you will, that most people don't know so that you can avoid the pain associated with getting a recovery that doesn't cover you.
Life comes at you pretty fast, and the first step is you need to act fast. And so in Indiana, we have a 2-year time frame. It's called a statute of limitations, and that's the date that a lawsuit must be filed. But you don't want to wait. You want to immediately start gathering as much as information and documentation as you can. So first things first, if you're in a car accident, call the police. Make sure that the police officer is writing up an incident report or a police report. That's the first thing. If it's a trip and fall, so we've had hundreds of clients trip and fall in various places. Don't just leave. You want to make sure that you report it to whoever the business owner is. Varying different schools of thoughts on that. We've handled lots of cases where our clients have and have not. And generally, the easier cases, they go a little bit better, where they first reported the accident to, let's say, Home Depot. On the other end of the spectrum, had lots of clients where they haven't reported at all, and the defense lawyers are pounding sand saying, well, my client never had notice of this. They never told us anything. In fact, the first time we ever became aware of it is when your client filed the lawsuit. That can be a pretty compelling story in front of a jury. So document. Another thing is find your witnesses. Get your witnesses, get their phone numbers, their names, email addresses, any way that you can document who they are and what they said and what they saw. Scan the neighborhood or the scene for photographs and videos. Photographs.
Does anybody have photographs in this neighborhood?
Anybody. Other things to look for, go to the scene and look for potential businesses or residences that might have cameras. Ring cameras are everywhere. Security camera footage is everywhere. Talk to those people and see if they'll share a copy. Now, you may not be able to get it. Sometimes you might need a lawyer to help in that regard. But that's why you want to act fast rather than late. A lot of times those recordings, they may disappear after a certain number of days, whether it's 7 days or 21. But you want to act fast.
You want take your own photos. Take your own pictures.
You want to take some selfies.
Yeah.
Post them on social media.
Yeah.
That way it's there.
Yeah.
Don't
do that.
Yeah. Basically, you do want to. Here's why. You don't want to wait until your 2 years comes up and you have to hire a lawyer to then start gathering all this information. You could have been doing this. You could have been working with a lawyer. Could have been much further ahead. Secondly, your memory is probably going to fade. The witness's memory is probably going to fade. Sometimes the evidence just disappears. So if you got bruising, cuts, scrapes, that's information. That's evidence that's going to disappear.
Once you've started the process of getting all the evidence, the next thing you need to do, if you need it, make sure you get medical help. A lot of people, when they're suffering some sort of illness or injury, our natural reaction, a lot of people, is just to grin and bear it. I think this will go away. I'll be fine. And that's a philosophy that many people take. But when it comes to an automobile accident, you're not rushing to the emergency room or rushing to your doctor just for the sake of going to the doctor. However, if you are feeling something, if you have symptoms, or if you just think, I need to get checked out, you gotta go, because one of the most damaging things to an injury claim is what insurance companies, what we call a gap in treatment. So if you get in an accident on a Tuesday and you go to the hospital on a Wednesday because you woke up and now you're a little sore, that kind of makes sense. But if you wake up on that Wednesday and you're sore, and you wake up on the Thursday and you're sore, but 3 Thursdays from now you say, you know what, I probably should go to the doctor.
Lots of questions.
Yeah.
start popping up.
Yeah. So now you've got this several week or a month or 2 month gap in your treatment where insurance companies say, hey, either you weren't that hurt and that's why you didn't go.
Something else
happened. Or gosh, maybe you would have gotten better if you would have just gone to the doctor. Okay. And it is your duty legally to try to get better from accidents. So you do need to treat for your injuries. And it's really, really important. Now, when you go to the doctor, you're just going to be candid. You're going to be very candid with the doctor. You're going to tell the doctor what's going on. You're not going to hide anything. You're not going to exaggerate anything, but you're not going to downplay anything either. You want what your symptoms are to be documented in your medical records. You're going to listen to the doctor. So if the doctor tells you need to do some physical therapy, then go do it. Right? It doesn't mean you can't get a second opinion, but if they're giving you something that you can do, then do it. Going to the doctor early is great for getting you better from an accident, but it's also good for legal protection. It helps you build your case to show that your symptoms started when they started, rather than us needing to convince somebody, no, they really started 3 weeks earlier than she first went to the doctor.
Yeah, I could probably add a couple things to this too, because you want to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. Because even if you continue to treat thereafter, and a lot of our clients do, you need to be careful about what you say, because a lot of the defenses in our cases are truly based on what happens to be written into the medical records. And so you might say something where then the nurse or the doctor, whoever is typing it, types something close to what you said, but it's a little bit off. And now it creates maybe an inconsistency. So short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah. Another thing about your medical treatment that you want to keep in mind is that you want to choose the doctors that you want to go to. And so every once in a while, when you're in an accident, you might get a phone call from somebody that's either soliciting your business, meaning, hey, come to my medical facility and treat, or it's somebody who is pretending to be an insurance company or some sort of scheduler to say, hey, look, I'm just following up after your accident and we'd like to schedule you an appointment to get you checked out. A lot of my clients have received calls like that, and they end up treating at a medical provider that they had no intention to treat at because they thought that was part of the process. So, yeah. So when you do, and on top of that, ending up with enormous medical bills. So be really careful that you are choosing the doctors, not the doctors choosing you.
So just like you get to choose which doctors you want to go see, unless it's work comp, but that's a separate subject, you get to choose whether or not you want to talk to the insurance company. And believe me, they're going to call you. Once these claims are open, the adjusters have policies and procedures that they've got to start working on. So one of the first things is talking to you and trying to get a recorded statement. You don't need to do that. Highly advise against it. Highly advise just talking to them in general, because even if it's not recorded, you might say something that could potentially hurt your case. When we're talking about how the accident happened and who's at fault, and in the air, we've got to prove that the defendant was more at fault than our clients. And so something might come up where an adjuster might ask you a simple question, and you say something that allows them to evaluate the claim and maybe put some fault on you. Okay. So you don't talk to an insurance company. Talk to a lawyer first. You don't have to hire a lawyer right off the get-go. Most lawyers will talk to you. We do. We'll talk for free and give you all the advice you need, whether it's on the phone or in person, and whether it's 15 minutes or 2 hours. But talk to a lawyer first. Get educated. And then at that point, if you're going to pursue the case on your own, then start talking to the insurance company.
The next thing you want to make sure you're doing is to gather proof of everything. Okay, documentation after an accident is very, very important. Medical bills and receipts, out-of-pocket of expenses, lost wages, and employer verifying that. Property damage estimates, so keep that documentation as it comes in. Some of the damages that you suffer are, I guess, you can measure them easily because there's an invoice or there's a statement. The other stuff is pain and suffering. That's a non-economic damage, meaning there's no calculator out there that's going to tell you how much that is, and there's no invoice from the hospital saying, hey, this is how much you had in pain. And so one of the things that you can do to help document that is write down what you're going through. Okay.
That was my knee.
Yeah. Something that you can do to help remind yourself what you went through is just to write it down. This doesn't have to be a daily thing, but if you can make notes for yourself, and more importantly, make notes for your lawyer, and if you are going to make notes for your lawyer, indicate at the top of that, these are for my lawyer. That's important. It's going to help us, let me say, quantify what you went through by telling your story. Your story is very, very important when we look at it to determine what the value might be. The takeaway of gathering proof or evidence is that your early organization with your case equals leverage. So the more information that you have, the better positioned you are to later negotiate your claim with the insurance company. You're negotiating from a position of strength, or at least the strongest position you can be in.
So number 5, this is a big one. It just patience. Being patient with your case. Patience usually pays off. We hear a lot of times from our clients that, hey, I know someone that they just got into a wreck and it was only a month ago and they got X amount of dollars. We always advise to be patient. Those types of things that you hear usually are not the norm. In my practice, in our practice, so we've been doing this now for over 35 years, we don't hear those things that often. And so patience truly is a virtue. So number 1, you've got to seek medical attention, but continue with the treatment. And we're all different. We're all built differently. Some of us are going to heal pretty quickly. For one accident, it's very similar. Some of us are going to continue to treat for a year. You can't settle your case until that time is done. We would always advise against that. You get to bite the apple one time. So patience is going to pay off there. The other thing, once you hire a lawyer, we're going to start building the file, getting all the documentation, the evidence, sending out letters, trying to preserve certain things, trying to maybe download black boxes, things like that. And so generally, as things go on, the cases in time will tend to they'll tend to have more value just because there's more documentation that has been there.
Yeah, but what about those folks who are not interested in hiring a lawyer? The key is still to be patient, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes I said earlier, life comes at you fast, and we have all had clients that we think they have a really good case. And when our clients have a really good case, it means that their injuries are pretty severe. But life may put them in a certain position where they literally have no choice but to settle for whatever reason. And we would advise against that. I mean, hey, your case is worth this. They're only offering this. I have to take the settlement.
Wouldn't a quick settlement be beneficial to the injured person? Like, I want a quick settlement and they're offering me a quick settlement. And I mean, isn't that good?
I think it can be in certain situations.
So why wouldn't it be?
Well, generally because the offers are so low. And usually, like a lot of people don't know this, but just because they make an offer doesn't mean that that's the last offer. So we're going to offer you $5,000. Okay, great. But they forget to ask the next question. Well, how much more than 5 can you pay? There's an art of negotiation there. The first offer is never the last offer. We negotiate all the time. Pre-suit with adjusters, we negotiate all the time. Once a lawsuit's filed with the lawyers, and we make them say several times, this is the offer, this is the offer. And if it's and the clients won't sell, great. If not, then we keep going and we put the case in front of a jury and we let a jury decide.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll get offers from some insurance companies will make you an offer within 3 days of the accident, right? You might not even have been to the doctor yet.
Or sooner.
Yeah, and so obviously you don't know what your case is worth until you're done treating.
Yeah, and with the 2-year statute, you have plenty of time to make a good, informed decision if you should or you shouldn't sell.
Let's recap. You just learned the 5 tricks to getting a big settlement for your car accident here in Indiana. First, you have to act fast and document everything. You always get medical treatment if you need it. Even if you think you might be fine, if you're feeling something, go get checked out. Don't talk to the other driver's insurance company before you talk to your lawyer. and gather proof of all your losses, and don't be pressured into accepting the first offer. They can make it sound good, but don't be pressured into taking that offer. If you want to know exactly how the car accident claims process works, from the first call to the final settlement, check out our next video. It's called How Does a Car Accident Claims Process Work? There you go.
How does it?
Yeah. And we're going to break down every step so that you know what to expect and how to protect yourself in settling your claim. We'll see you over there.